Happy Stanley Cup Finals Day. Game one of the Stanley Cup Finals is tonight, but we are not here to talk about that. We are here to kick off a new road to, and today's road that we are kicking off today, at least it's not just going to go on today. It's probably going to go on for the next 3 to 4 months. But the road to that we are starting today is the road to Judgment Day 2004. This is going to be a long one because there's a pay-per-view in between that is Raw only. So we won't be covering that, but we will be covering every SmackDown from here on out, from here to Judgment Day, which here is March 18th. So we're talking about March to June. So this is going to be a long road to March to May, excuse me. This is going to
Yeah,
be a long road to though. We got a couple of months to get into.
be-
Tro, how
but
you doing?
I'm good. And don't worry, we'll still be able to follow along what's going on Raw thanks to the Raw rebound. Raw
Raw rebound.
rebound.
It's not we don't have the Raw rebound on this show yet.
No.
That's after the draft, but we do have a segment in the show where they cut back. They show the prior week's Raw because it's where Vince announces the draft. But we'll get to that. But like I said,
Why are they
go
showing B show on on SmackDown?
ahead. um, yeah. So yeah,
Paul Heyman, Paul Heyman SmackDown, mind you.
that's right.
Gonna
My
have to get used to
mind
saying that for the rest of this run, obviously.
is Paul. Yeah, it's Paul Heyman SmackDown for like one more
No, no, no,
for
no, no. He
this
said he's
show,
gonna be here forever.
as he did. Yeah, he does say it on the show. We're doing a wrestling show, and I got nothing but hockey on the brain because it's Stanley Cup Finals Game
He,
One, and I'm extremely worried, as you see in my name. I believe Vancouver, PWHL Vancouver, is having their expansion draft as we speak. They already took players from Minnesota. So I don't know how that goes. I don't know if it's gonna go on for a couple of days or so, but it seems like it's going on right now. I hope they do not take Sarah Nurse or Natalie Spooner away from the Scepters, but we will see about
can you
that.
not protect people in the PWHL?
You're only allowed to protect three, and it seems like the Vancouver is allowed to take like three players. They've already taken like two, three players from Minnesota.
So they're an
So that
expansion team, right?
yeah, they're an expansion. They're a new.
And how many teams are in the league?
At this moment, there's got to be like six, and so they're the
Oh yeah, so
seven.
that makes more
They're the
sense.
seven. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy though.
gotta make it up somehow.
Yeah, well, we're guaranteed. We're almost guaranteed to lose Spooner and Nurse, and I'm very worried about
This
that because
isn't the NHL where you had a college.
oh, I
You
know
have a college pool to just tap into and be like, okay, I'll
it's
just take the whole college team. Said the New York Islanders of '72.
it's it's frustrating though because we're going to lose Nurse and Spooner most likely for nothing just because a new team. Maybe Toronto can pull something like the Islanders did a couple years ago to keep the guys that they didn't protect. They made a trade with Vegas. I hope that Toronto can do something like that.
Yeah, you said you had hockey on the mind. I'm like, did he take notes for the Stanley Cup instead of?
No.
He's like, Big Show comes down holding the Stanley Cup.
Big Show does come down on this. He
Yeah,
is on
Steve.
this show, but he's not
John
holding
Cena comes out with the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
it.
Opens the show with the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
I so remember last on the last episode, which was our Backlash Show 2 review, a couple
Last
of
season.
my Facebook friends commented when I shared the post, and they gave their thoughts on the show. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to read that on the show. So I told everybody when I shared the link to today's show, I should say tonight's show. I said, leave your comments, whatever you think about this show. And I felt like nobody was gonna comment because we're reviewing a random weekly show,
It
and like
is.
yeah, and like a lot of the people on my Facebook feed are probably like, what the hell even happened on that show? I don't even remember. So I tried to like write down like a lot of stuff that happened. Like APA disbanded, Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero in the main event. It's first SmackDown after Mania, last SmackDown before the '04 draft. So I tried to put all that in there. Nobody commented, but
Okay.
so nobody commented, and which is not. I'm not surprised about that because again, I can understand. It's a random show. People probably look at that and are like, "What even happened on this show?" Well, uh, I would have read everything at the beginning of the episode if somebody commented, but if the comments still come in, I'll read them at the end when we finish the review. But I highly doubt I'll get any comments on this. So this is the SmackDown after WrestleMania 20. They're in Boston for this one. Obviously, John Cena's hometown. Cena has just won the United States title. His first was he, yeah. This is not only his first singles title, but this is his first title ever. So John Cena is a champion in the WWE for the first time in his career, and this is also the moment where they are starting to. This is essentially the beginning of his run to becoming the guy in the company. As I guess we're gonna have to wait for Tro. I think Tro is going back inside, which is a smart move because it was a little too loud where he is outside. But anyway, so this is the beginning where over the next year we are going to see John Cena sort of get set up to become the face of the franchise, if you will, over the next year because Brock Lesnar is gone, so they need a new guy, and
What?
that's something that Paul Heyman brings up in our first segment. Where Brock Lesnar has left, he sadly wants to become a member of the Minnesota Vikings, which
No.
if he would have joined the Bears, he would still be in the NFL to this day. He
No,
would have
no.
won Super
To be
Bowls.
fair, he would have went to any team would have taken him.
Well, yeah, but it's his hometown team though. That's the real reason as to why he went with them. But obviously, Lesnar uh, had a horrific motorcycle accident that screwed up any chance he had of making the team with the Vikings, and he went on to become a legend in the UFC, where he became their champion. I don't really follow UFC, so but I know he became champion. He beat um, one of the was Randy Couture, I think he beat him, if I'm not mistaken, who was obviously a legend for them. But obviously, then in 2012, Lesnar came back and to the WWE, not to the NFL. He came back to the WWE where he still is to this day. But yeah, this is the beginning of the run. 2004 John Cena is very entertaining, very underrated. And obviously, when people think of John Cena, they don't think of 2004 Cena for obvious reasons because the next year he becomes the guy, and people think of '05, '06. Let me see something here. Hold on. Um, okay.
There we go.
Yeah, when people think of Cena, they think of '05 Cena, they think of '06 Cena, they think of, pretty much every Cena after '05. And a lot of people think of rapper Cena as well, because that was such a great gimmick. But nobody really talks about '04 Cena. 2004 Cena, which he was still obviously doing the rapper gimmick, but
Yeah.
this is where,
Basic thugonomics,
obviously, basic thugonomics Cena, absolutely. This is where he really built on
Yeah.
he really became the main guy in 2004. Everything that happened in '04 led to the great 2005 that we had. We also see the end of APA. I did just talk about that. We see the end of APA.
Dang.
So the beginning of JBL, although that's next week, JBL I
Yeah.
think turns on. Well, he doesn't turn on. He attacks Eddie Guerrero. They were never a tag team or anything. He attacks Eddie Guerrero during a match against, spoiler alert, Booker T, because Booker T gets traded, not
What?
drafted. He gets traded
Oh, spoilers,
to
Frank. Spoilers.
to SmackDown.
Well, don't
Smack
reveal who.
He gets traded to SmackDown. Well, I'm gonna reveal who. Raw got back Triple H, who gets drafted to SmackDown, and SmackDown gets 4 future first round picks: the Dudley Boys, RVD, and Booker T in that trade, if I remember correctly. I know the
But
Dudleys.
who retains the salaries?
SmackDown retains Triple H's salary.
So now they have
There's
they have a 2005 first round pick.
Yes, 2005, 2006, 2007, and 2008 first round pick.
Oh, wow. As we all know, the 2005 SmackDown would use that pick on Batista.
Yes. But then Raw would use that pick on nobody because they traded it. So SmackDown would get the first 2 picks in the trade.
Yeah, that's why SmackDown got Muhammad Hassan. And UPN said, fuck that.
I don't think, was Muhammad the first pick of SmackDown that year?
Who was the first pick of that? No, Benoit was.
No, okay. It's funny. At one point, Michael Cole actually says, "Can you imagine if Benoit gets drafted to Raw?" And to SmackDown, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna move him over to Raw, put the world title on him, just to literally throw him back on SmackDown.
You're back on. Congratulations, you're the champion. Now you're on SmackDown again. But what about Raw? Eric Bischoff, he comes up with another world title. It's like, I have another world title, and guess what, Triple H? It's yours now. Just keeps on handing world titles to Triple H.
Yeah. Triple H on SmackDown in 2004, I will say, would have been something. But I understand where Triple H is coming from for this simple
He doesn't
fact.
work Tuesdays.
Yeah, for this simple fact that Evolution was just in its beginning stages, and Evolution had a chance to be special, and they were special. That was a special group, a great faction, and that is the main reason, at least I think, as to why Triple H wanted to stay on Raw. It was nothing against working on Tuesdays, working on the Beat Show, as they call it.
I need to win the world title back from Randy Orton. Kill his push right then there. But don't worry, I'll be gone in the summer. I gotta film Blade Trinity.
Blade Trinity, a movie that features Jessica Biel, so that movie gets 10 out of 10 for me.
You know what? It has vampires.
Vampire. Hey, well,
but no Buffy.
Yeah, that well, if there are vampires, then
Blade and here you go. Here's your hey Marvel. Here's your next great anime. Buffy and Blade team up to face off against vampires.
Well, we mentioned vampires. You know who's on this road too? He's not a vampire.
Yes, he is. He's here.
And just in case,
wait until you see what I did to my Undertaker. He looks very bizarre.
And just in case, for anybody that doesn't know why the hell we are mentioning Paul Bearer and vampires in the same sentence, is because we have a running joke that Tro created on this show where Paul Bearer is a monster Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan.
So you have to understand the lore of this.
Yeah,
you gotta go back in the catalog of one of our seasons and watch
June. Well, it wasn't a road to. It was a random pick before we were doing. Yeah, before we were doing road twos, where I picked the June 10th, 2004 SmackDown. Paul Bearer getting abducted was a major storyline. He had just been abducted a few weeks prior, and you made the joke that Paul Bearer is watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer with the Dudley Boys because the Dudley Boys were the ones who abducted him. And obviously, you made that joke because
Well,
I myself am a huge Buffy fan. So we're just
well,
playing off the fact that I'm a
it's just like the thought of like the Dudley boys have to carry this guy around everywhere.
yeah.
He's at the hotel. He's at the hotel. Oh, turn to channel 9. Buffy's on.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, when SmackDown's not on, because that'd be a conflict of interest.
UPN.
But at the time, though, this would be 2004. Buffy had ended the year prior, so Paul Bearer.
He's just watching. He's watching reruns.
Paul's bringing
But,
his blank tapes with him because he
but,
recorded the episodes.
but you see, this is why Paul Bear was able to return because Buffy ended.
Yeah, that's why he was exactly.
That's the storyline. Buffy's over. What do you mean, the Undertaker dad? Oh, I'll bring him back.
But when Buffy began, Paul Bearer was still on TV.
It was that's why he had to leave TV. He started watching too much Buffy.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That's the Lord. You can't prove me wrong.
So here we go. SmackDown, March 18th, 2004, just 4 days removed from WrestleMania 20. And we don't even kick off the show with a video package. We actually just head straight to the ring where Tony Chimmel announces the new United States champion, John Cena. This is the show, as I said, takes place in Boston. John Cena is the hometown boy. He's coming back as a champion, so obviously we're kicking the show off with him. He had Boston Celtics basketball jersey on with the Boston Celtics hat, and he kicks off the show by saying this is his home, and the fans, those Boston fans, are his people. He used to buy tickets for the old Boston Gardens. That being said, he had to sit in the cheap seats where he sat behind the pole. But that, as he says, is real. And he says that he's going to kick things off real tonight. He says Big Show didn't think Cena was a fighter, but at WrestleMania, Cena put Show on an FU diet, and Big Show came out 10 pounds lighter. He says he says he brings championships home like his name was Tom Brady. Even in 2004,
Yeah.
even in 2004, that was
Well,
true. Tom Brady brought home championships back then.
3 times at that point.
Yep, 3 times.
Yeah.
He says there's a problem though because there are people out there that think Cena disgraced the heritage of the United States title by cheating to win. Cena used one of his word life brass knuckles to punch Big Show in the head. Big Show fell back on the ropes, bounced off the ropes. Cena hit him with the FU for the 1, 2, 3, and that's how Cena won. So Cena says that there are people thinking he disgraced the heritage of the title, and he says he's causing more controversy than gay marriage. To which he looks at
timely.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, for many reasons, to be honest. He tells Michael Cole, he looks at the announce table and tells Michael Cole, "No offense," and asks if they're still cool. This was a running gag on SmackDown in 2004, where John Cena would hint at the fact that Michael Cole is gay, which not a fact, but that's the running gag. Cole's obviously not gay, but
he's very happy.
he tells Cole no offense and asks if they're still cool. Now he says the FCC is cracking down on him, which 2003, 2004, John Cena, yeah, the FCC, not a big fan of him, especially.
Damn right to censor.
Especially on UPN, which is
UPN.
which is not a cable.
The guy who's the people who killed Muhammad Hassan.
Yeah, they're cracking down. He didn't say the network was cracking down. He said the FCC, but yeah.
He was like, "Hey, network, I dare you to take us off."
The man who said that will be in this segment real soon. But obviously we got to get cheap popping. He says the FCC sucks, just like the Yankees do, and
Yeah,
The Boston crowd
but
chants Yankees suck.
man,
And go ahead.
it's pretty interesting that he's doing this in March 2004, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
I wonder. So this would have been them. This would have obviously been them coming off losing to Aaron Boone.
yeah.
It's
Game
walk
seven.
off, which is the only reason why he got a job for the Yankees now.
Um, but
And they
the Red
it worked
Sox,
out well for them.
it did for them. Yeah, the first team in MLB history, as they did became later in this year, the first team in MLB history to win a series after trailing 3 games to none. Something that has never happened in the NBA. So that just shows you how impressive that is. Cena says that he's changing the industry as nobody can finish him. He kind of, and as he says that, Paul Heyman comes out. Heyman says the rumors are true. Brock Lesnar is no longer a member of Paul Heyman's SmackDown as he has left the WWE. But
Good.
that could be good news for John Cena, as Heyman says, as there is a world of opportunity for everyone on SmackDown, and Cena could be the new face of SmackDown.
Ooh.
You see where WWE was going with their telling you right away where they're headed for the next 12 months. They are heading towards Cena becoming the new face, not of SmackDown, but of WWE. And then they turned around and moved him to Raw, which, I mean, they moved Batista to SmackDown, so it worked out.
Took them
Um,
a while.
yeah. He says Cena could be the new face of SmackDown, but this Monday, every ungrateful member of the SmackDown roster will be at Raw
Yeah.
because the draft is on Monday. He says the superstars of SmackDown should pray to God that they get drafted to Raw because those who get left behind will have to deal with the wrath of Paul Heyman. And there's a reason for that, and he's going to get to that soon. He tells Cena that he's very stressed out, and here's the reason for all of this, why he's mad at the locker room, why he's stressed out. As on the prior week show, the go home show to SmackDown, Raw's Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was not the co GM at this point, he was the sheriff at this point.
Yep.
He was calling himself. He came to SmackDown to get his ATV back from Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar came on Raw about a week prior to that, took the ATV and showed up with it on SmackDown.
Laid him out.
Yep. And
Mm.
so Austin came to SmackDown for your go home segment, not just the go home show, not just the go home SmackDown, but the go home segment to WrestleMania was was Stone Cold Steve Austin coming to SmackDown and confronting Brock Lesnar. But Paul Heyman had a plan for all this. He told the SmackDown roster that this is a Raw guy and you need to stop him from coming to the ring and doing anything to anybody here on SmackDown. So what happens is Austin comes to SmackDown, comes onto the stage where a whole bunch of SmackDown guys are surrounding the stage, blocking Austin off, and then they part like the Red Seas. Obviously, they don't give a damn about Paul Heyman. They don't give a damn about Brock Lesnar. They part the Red Seas. Austin goes to the ring and he puts his hand. He obviously goes after Brock, but the main part of this is he also puts his hands on Paul Heyman. He stuns Paul Heyman, and that is what Paul Heyman is mad about here. That is why he is stressing tonight, and he will be stressing all night. So he says he's stressed out, obviously for the reasons I just told you, because Stone Cold Steve Austin stunnered him last week, and the locker room did absolutely nothing. They allowed this to happen, and so because of that, he wants everybody gone, which is literally impossible because there's only a few draft picks that Raw is getting for this. By the way, not just a draft, it is a draft lottery.
Yep.
So Heyman can't exactly pick who he wants, and neither can Eric Bischoff. It's all, you pick the name out of the thing, and whoever that is, you're taking them. So Heyman says he wants everybody gone, including Cena. He calls Cena Boston Crab as he slaps him across the face. He tries to slap him again. Cena blocks it, takes Heyman to the ground. It beats him up a little bit, but that is when Rhino interferes, gets Heyman out of there, saves the day for Paul Heyman, and that is where we go right into the opening match here, which is John Cena versus Rhino. Cena wins this match with the FU. I thought this was a fun match. Crowd was into it. Crowd was behind Cena again. Cena was over even at this point in his career. So I gave it I gave it 3.5 stars, excuse me. The opening segment, Cena's promo, and then Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was so good here, being stressed out, portraying a stressed out man. He did a damn good job of that. Slapping Cena. That whole opening segment was really good, and this opening match was fun. I will say that. What are your thoughts on the opening segment and the opening match?
I thought both were good. I do find it a little interesting that they don't start the show, if you're WWE champion. Might
That
be
yes, that's.
I mean, he was an afterthought of the show before that because he wasn't even in the main event segment for the go home show before WrestleMania.
For the go home, right, yeah. I was gonna say he was in the main event.
Granted, the Eddie versus Kurt Angle match wasn't the top build match on that card. It was kind of middle of the WrestleMania card, but still, you probably want your WWE champion to be king of the show.
I don't even think it's the top build SmackDown match, to be honest.
No,
I'm not bashing the match. The match was great. The build to it was great, but Brock versus Goldberg was both shows. I think that they focus on that a little more. I think
Kane and Undertaker.
Yeah, Undertaker and Kane.
But technically speaking, they treated that Kane and Undertaker match as a Raw match.
That's because
it had JR and King on it.
That's because Undertaker had not come back yet until Mania. That was his.
He was also SmackDown. He was also a SmackDown superstar, though.
Yeah, but they did have Kane come to SmackDown a few times. Obviously, the night after he buried the SmackDown after he buried Undertaker alive, he went to SmackDown, which obviously this is so far before Mania because that's after Survivor, but it's still a part of the build-up. And did Kane? I feel like Kane may have showed up on SmackDown again, like right before.
I don't think so.
I might be wrong. Yeah, I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, because the whole build was literally just on Raw, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, this is kind of a SmackDown match too." Because Taker's still a contracted SmackDown superstar, even though he's dead.
They had no way of building it on SmackDown because the guy who wrestled on SmackDown in the match was nowhere to be found. He was still on his vacation. But they did nice ways of building it up for a match where you're building up a match where one of the two participants are nowhere to be found in the whole build up to the match.
It would have been very anticlimactic if the Undertaker didn't return.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he really did bury him alive. He's gone.
Paul Bearer still comes out. Oh, yes. But he just, oh, no.
Yeah, he's like, oh, why do you guys think Undertaker's... I see, you can do a Paul Bearer, I can't, because Paul Bearer just comes out like, why do you guys think Undertaker's returning? He's dead. Kane buried him.
Oh, no, you buried the Undertaker.
Kane's Kane's just in the ring smiling because Kane did come out first.
They,
So Kane's just in the ring smiling. Like, I told you.
I told you, he's dead. He's dead. He's dead. And then they just got like, oh, well, anyways, on to our main event of the evening.
No, what
Or
happened?
one of the other tag matches that happened after. I don't know.
No, the main event was no Eddie and Kurt. I think was
Maybe
it
because
was either that or the main
because Molly Holly. I specifically remember that Molly Holly versus Victoria is before Eddie and Kurt because Kurt
right.
sees Molly getting her head shaved. He's like, ugh,
Yeah.
as he's walking out.
Oh yeah, Kane and Undertaker were the second to last match. There was no cooldown. There was no cooldown. I guess that's weird, especially for a
Well, I guess
WrestleMania.
the main event was so hot that I guess they kind of figured like, well, the main event's going to be hot enough. Even we don't really need a cooldown match.
No, but what happens is Paul Bearer's like, Undertaker may be dead, but I got something for you, and that's when Ted DiBiase comes out with the Underfaker, and it's Kane versus Underfaker at WrestleMania.
Thing. Paul Bearer's like, I have a surprise for you, fake Diesel. And it's just no. He's like, fake Diesel. It's just Jacob's like, oh no. No, it's Luke Gallows.
Yeah.
Because that's who plays fake Kane in those.
2 years later. But no, not that. It's the Underfaker from SummerSlam '94.
Yeah. That's not my Undertaker. What do you? He's not listening to my earn. Yeah, he's listening to my money now. Oh damn it.
So yeah, what was I gonna say now? I guess that's about it when we were talking about that. I felt like I had more to say about the build up, but okay, we'll just move on from that. So now we have an Edge return vignette.
Oh hell yeah.
Edge returned. They ran this vignette at WrestleMania too. They run it here. This is all building up to Monday night because that is when Edge returns. Then we have moments ago they show Cena just beating the hell out of Paul Heyman again in that opening segment.
I can't wait to see Edge on SmackDown next week and the upcoming build to Judgment Day.
He will not be on Judgment Day.
Oh wait, here's my question. Even Maven has a match in Judgment Day?
Nope.
Oh man. Even Mordecai has a match in Judgment Day.
And guess what? Chris Jericho doesn't have a match for Judgment Day.
He does. He has a match for Backlash.
And this time he actually does have a match for Backlash. So improvement for Chris Jericho too.
There you go.
We have Paul Heyman backstage. He's walking backstage. He cannot believe what has happened to open this show. He just happens to walk by the APA, who are laughing at him. And remember now, Paul Heyman is absolutely pissed at the locker room for turning their backs on him. Not that they ever were on his side, but he asked them to do something, and they all said no, and they let Austin walk right through that human picket line. They were picketing for Austin to not come through, and Austin just walked right by them because they let him. Heyman is like, what are you guys laughing at? And why are you guys laughing? But you know what? It's too bad what happened to him, Heyman says. Heyman blames the APA again for letting Austin get his hands on him last week, and he says, tonight, the APA has a tag title match where they are challenging Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty. I think we just mentioned this at some point during the road to Backlash because Scotty was involved. Scotty 2 Hotty was involved on the SmackDown side because he always was facing Albert. Oh yeah, and what happened was Rikishi ran in for Scotty when Albert was beating the hell out of him. So when we were going over that, I brought up that it was really. Go ahead.
We saw the genesis of the tag team that's still been around since the build to Backlash. Oh, too.
I did say that it was really cool that they got their run in '04, that one final run. And well, here we are. Now we get to talk about it. And when I said that, I knew what the next show was, but I wasn't even thinking to like, I didn't bring that up just to be like, oh, hey, we're going to talk about that soon. Like, I really did mean that. But anyway, Paul Heyman tells Farouk and Bradshaw that if they do not win the tag titles tonight, then he looks straight into Farouk's face and says, "You're fired." And the APA obviously can't believe this. Again, another segment here where we are getting stressed out Paul Heyman, which Paul Heyman was the MVP for this show, in my opinion. Not a lot else really went on this show. Obviously, Cena did great in the opening promo, but there's a big reason. The second half of this show is brought down a little bit because of what is about to happen. We're about to get to the reason for that in just a few minutes. So, Too Cool versus APA. I wrote that as Too Cool. They weren't really called Too Cool at this point, but Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty, who were 2/3 of Too Cool, taking on APA. And you know what happens here. Rikishi gets the win for Too Cool, and they retain their tag titles. I thought this was a decent match. I gave it 2.5 stars. Tro, your thoughts on the
Right.
end, the very end, because they may have made appearances on shows in the future, but they never became a tag team ever again on like a weekly basis. The very end of APA here.
Are you sure we're not just watching Backlash 2002 now that we have Rikishi and Scotty Tuhati and the APA on the same show together? But
I mean,
don't worry. I'm sure they'll be fine. You know, Farouk will be drafted to Raw, and then they'll meet up at Judgment Day.
the match for Backlash maybe should have been Scotty 2 Hotty and Rikishi teaming with Mark Henry and Farouk to take on Test and Albert and well, I don't know who else you would add to that, but I mean
Just incredible.
they were building two matches there for
Maybe
Backlash.
Chris Jericho.
Maybe Chris Jericho. Get Chris Jericho on somehow, right?
Even Jericho.
He just comes out and it's like, even I have a match.
He's like, I don't know why you guys are feuding, but I really wanted to be on the card. Then he says Mark Henry's like, oh fuck. I might have made a mistake here, guys.
So thoughts on the tag match here?
It's hard because this is late stages for Farouk,
Yeah,
where he's kind of like it was pretty obvious at this point that Ron Simmons was done. So
that's
this is the in between where Ron Simmons is obviously done and JBL is going to start. Well, Bradshaw's going to start changing up his whole in ring stuff. So
for
it's
better.
also 2004. So at this point, I feel like the APA had pretty much run its course. The thing had been around since '99. So
Yeah, absolutely. Although they started as the acolytes,
well, yeah, but still, like the whole
bit of a
it's
different gimmick.
like even the break in between, like it's hard for any gimmick, any stable like this to last for that long and still be like kind of fresh.
And what they got out of Bradshaw, who becomes JBL, worked big
Yeah,
time. It absolutely worked. So now, right after the match, we have the APA walking backstage, to which Bradshaw tells Farouk, "Let me do the talking." They burst into Paul Heyman's office. Bradshaw gets into Paul Heyman's face, yells at him to tell them to their face that they're fired. Bradshaw says, "I want to hear it from you." And that is when Paul Heyman says, I didn't say nothing about the APA getting fired. There's a reason why I mentioned when he said you're fired, he looked dead into Farouk's face. He wasn't looking at both of them. He was looking dead into Farouk's face. And he says, Let me see, where am I? He says he wasn't firing the APA. He said he was firing Farouk. Farouk gets pissed off. Farouk did a really good job of being frustrated.
Yeah.
He kind of was so emotional that he was near tears. I mean, the man just lost his job, and he's expecting his best friend of all these years to help him, to be on his side here. But there's a reason why Bradshaw turned a little bit, and we're gonna get into that right here. He looks at Bradshaw, tells him he thinks highly of Bradshaw for his financial work, which he's written a book, a successful book about that, and that's led to appearances on Fox News. He asked Bradshaw how much longer was he willing to carry the excess baggage of Farouk. Farouk can't believe what he just heard. He's like, I'm not. He was about to say, like, I'm not excess baggage. He's like, I'm not. But he was so pissed off at it. He's like, he just looks at Bradshaw like, can you believe he just said that? And Farouk's like, you know what, man? We don't need this. Let's get out of here. Farouk says that to Bradshaw. Bradshaw starts staring into space, and Farouk knows right away. Uh-oh. He's like,
Well, I'll be damned.
He's like, are you serious after all these years? Damn. So Bradshaw has just turned his back.
No, he didn't.
He essentially
Now,
did. He is.
think of this from JBL, from Bradshaw's point of view. How much longer was he going to have to carry that excess weight of Farouk? He probably saw Farouk in the match and said, "Oh shit!" And then Paul Heyman's just like, "Well, you're on TV, and you're doing this and you're doing that. Imagine if you got rid of this guy, you could be a single star."
Now,
All Farouk had to do was just say, "Remember Justin Hawk Bradshaw?"
yeah.
JB Bradshaw would be like, "Oh shit, you're right. I'm coming with you. I'm coming with you, Farouk."
So, like I said, Paul Heyman being stressed out and frustrated, he was the MVP of this show. But the best story going on this show was this emotional breakup that only really takes place over 2 segments. It's right here in this segment, and then we will see it again a little later on in the show. In fact, it was right in the middle of what brings our 2 down for me, but we will get to that. So the emotion from Farouk was really good. Bradshaw, who is not yet JBL, just a few.
He's not even JBL, but next week, by the way, he's called John Bradshaw Layfield next week.
John Bradshaw Lakefield, but it gets shortened to JBL
Eventually, but not right away.
Not right away. Okay.
He gets his theme next week at least.
Yes, the infamous Moo theme.
I don't know if he has the Moon version in the first week.
He
doesn't have the limousine for a little bit.
Obviously. But
I always thought the Moo was the car horn, but then I heard it like on its own and it had the Moo. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. So Farouk showing emotion segment was really good. Bradshaw, the wheels are spinning in his head. He's really thinking like, man, this is my best friend, but look at the opportunity I have here now. The boss expects big things out of me, so why would I leave? It may turn Bradshaw heel, but it's like in reality, I get you want to be loyal to your best friend, but you're passing up a big opportunity there if you do.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's why I'm here to announce that if I was ever given an opportunity, I would totally leave you in the dust break.
It just stabbed me straight in the back.
You're like, after all.
After all,
the YouTube executive was like, how much longer are you going to carry that package? The excess weight to freak around. And you're like, come on, Tro, we don't need to be monetized and all this other shit. And I'm just
after all these years, after the tens of views, this is how it's gonna end.
Can we still be friends?
Yeah, don't spoil it. You spoil
Can we
it.
still be Facebook friends?
So yeah, this was a great segment, and again, the emotion between the breakup of APA is really good on this show. But now this is where the show kind of drops for me. At this point, it is a really good show thus far, and it's gonna have a really good ending. But we're in the middle of it. Now, I understand that Brock Lesnar just left, so the writers for SmackDown were hamstrung. They probably, well, I don't know if they even had anything planned because Brock knew he
Well,
was leaving. Brock knew he was leaving a while before
here's
this.
here's the thing. If let's say Brock's still here, what
Yeah.
would he be doing? Would he be facing Eddie Guerrero again? I don't know.
Uh,
I don't think so. I think they'd have the title pre-strapped on to Eddie at this point, and they only had Eddie win because of because of interference from Goldberg, basically. So Goldberg is gone
yeah.
at this point.
Well, you got Brock. The draft is coming, so they're going
Yeah,
to send guys over from Raw who can feud with Brock.
yeah,
You could have inserted a promo if Brock was still here, where Brock is somewhat similar to like his promo the night after, or the show after the SmackDown after No Way Out 2004, where he was just spiraling and he's like, "Give me Goldberg." That promo. If you haven't seen that, that was
yeah.
one of Brock Lesnar's best, where he's
I
just spiraling.
I guess I could see them putting him on Raw, but then it becomes a problem where there's too many heels on
No,
Raw.
yeah, you have to keep him on SmackDown, and
Yeah,
they
that's the
prove
issue.
that him themselves when he walks out, and they got nothing. I've always said I enjoyed '04 SmackDown because the writers did a phenomenal job in writing interesting stories every week on SmackDown to keep the viewers interested, even without not having a legit star. Like Brock Lesnar was the guy. They put all their
Yeah,
eggs in the Brock Lesnar basket for SmackDown. There's no way he was going to get drafted to Raw.
yeah.
But if he was still there, they could have drafted a couple of Raw stars to be there to feud with Brock. But Brock left, and that was not going to happen. Um,
Yeah.
but yes, there was a lot of really good storylines, like the one we've covered from Great American Bash '04,
Yeah. But
the abduction of Paul Bearer and all that. They did
you
a good
know,
job.
I could see
But
them doing running Brock to Taker back at some point again.
maybe that'd be
'Cause
interesting
but
because
I also know,
Brock,
like, I don't think JBL happens if Brock is still around.
he could be like an undercard heel.
I don't know because that whole character is basically just making fun of. Oh, like, what would he be doing? Like, trying to face Cena?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know because like that whole character of JBL's thing was, oh, I hate immigrants. Like,
At the point,
at this point, what would his
at
grudge
that
be
point.
against Cena?
Well, the same grudge he had at Mania. He doesn't like the style, the lifestyle of the rapper and everything that Cena lived. That was like one of the big stories of
But
WrestleMania.
it was also like the prestige of the WWE title. At this
Mhm.
point, no matter what John Cena tries to say, the WWE US title does not exactly have a big prestige.
Absolutely
The
not.
title lineage at this point is literally
But
him, Big Show, and Eddie Guerrero.
but you can tell a storyline. A good storyline is not just, oh, look at the prestige of the belt. They're fighting over the belt. That's not a good storyline. The JBL John Cena storyline had a lot more than just they're fighting over the belt. The JBL, and some of it had help because John Cena was releasing an album at the time, and in this situation he wouldn't be releasing it yet. But JBL brought up like actual lyrics from the
Yeah,
album that were dirty and wasn't exact, And he's like, "This is the guy you all love. Like this guy is terrible," and that was essentially one of the main parts of the Cena versus JBL story. And you could still do that in
but
2004 because Cena was still the rapper at that point.
but at this time, Cena beating JBL wouldn't have really done anything. It would have.
No, it doesn't have to
It,
do anything.
yeah, but when Cena beats JBL at WrestleMania, it's like the culmination of JBL
Yeah,
having this long ass title reign, and everyone like finally JBL's been defeated. If
right,
Cena defeats JBL at Judgment, it's like, oh, he just beat Bradshaw. Oh my god, that's so impressive.
right,
You beat Bradshaw.
right. But like I said, at this point, this is an undercard storyline. So it's not like he needs to have some big win. You're building Cena up at this point. He's not main event yet. And by the time you get to WrestleMania 21, it's probably Brock Lesnar, which would be a much bigger victory because he's beaten Brock Lesnar. And this is obviously this we're all saying this if Brock
Well,
Lesnar
yeah,
never
this is like all hypothetical. This is all like
yeah,
hypothetical
hypothetical.
because you also have to remember like this time Kurt's hurt, so
Yeah. Oh
Kurt's
yeah.
hurt, so he couldn't face Eddie until at least SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So they probably would have to run back Brock and Eddie at Judgment Day.
Yeah, and that would have been fine.
It would have been
That would
fine, but it would have been very interesting to see how they would have had Eddie win
yeah.
because they're not going to have Eddie drop the title that quickly.
But like I said, I totally understand why a lot of people do not like SmackDown 04 because
It's a mixed bag.
if you purely base watching wrestling on you want to see the stars, then SmackDown in 04 was not for you. I love SmackDown because I guess I don't know if the writers necessarily felt like they had to be, bring up their writing, but they did either way because they made up for the fact that they
Well, it was
lacked
Paul
stars.
Heyman's.
That's true. Paul Heyman, he did a great job.
Yeah.
Was he still
Well,
the writer in 04?
Yeah, Paul Heyman's whole thing was literally just, hey, I really want. He treated this like it was ECW, like in the regards of like it's an actual competition. I want to beat Raw every single time.
And yeah, he did do.
I'm going to do whatever the hell it takes.
He was sneaking into Raw's.
He was only caught once. No.
It was only caught once, but he still did it a lot of times. He was on their calls, which again, it's so crazy how like, oh, this is the Raw.
Well, because they had different writing teams.
But it's still the same company. Like it's just so hilarious.
No, because you don't want to confuse the writers, and it probably motivated the writers to do better.
Maybe it maybe did.
Because like if you feel like you're running for a specific team, like if you're motivated enough, you can be like, okay, yeah, I definitely want to write for this show to be better because this is my show, this is my work. But whatever they're doing on that show is that show.
And I feel, and I will say this right now, I love Raw in 04, but if you're asking me which writing team did better, I think SmackDown did in 04. Because again, the Paul Bearer abduction storyline, while it was only 1 month, was really good. A lot of drama in that storyline. Eddie Guerrero and JBL's feud controlled the spring into the summer. That was a damn good storyline, a controversial storyline, but it's television. I don't think there's nothing wrong with controversy on television. If Bradshaw himself was saying some of the shit, and that's not in front of the camera. Yeah, I know. But I'm saying when Bradshaw says stuff like that not in front of a camera, then that's trash. Those are trash opinions. But when a bad guy on a television show is making the type of comments that JBL made, that's a good heel. That's a really good heel.
It's actually kind of timely that we're doing this whole JBL deep dive kind of like era, because recently I think it was on one of the Mexican shows that he was on.
Oh, did he say
he was like, "You filthy Mexicans are the reason why we are building a wall between us and you."
But he's saying that he said that on a show as a character, right?
Yeah, as a character, and I think most people understood, but it's the internet. You know how it is. Like, oh my god, a heel being a heel. Oh my god, stop the presses.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he is being a heel. It's like, yeah, guess what? That's what a heel is, my friend.
I totally understand like outrage when people say that, but you have to you have to understand the difference between a television character saying that
Yeah.
and the person saying that. Like if JBL went on X or Instagram or whichever platform today, and let's say he went to the border and actually beat up people for trying to
And I,
jump.
he'd actually be cheered for that, though, Frank.
That's not a good.
You'd have people being like, "Oh hell yeah, let's good job, GBL. Somebody's finally doing something
Uh,
about it."
I don't think that's a nice thing to do. He'd receive a lot of backlash for it, and he'd be rightfully so receive backlash for it. And I mean, like if he's doing that, not in a joking way where it's like, "Hey, remember when I did this on TV?" Like he
I'm gonna
literally
do it
does it.
again.
Like no, like when he literally does it. And if he actual finds actual people, not actors,
I'm going to
trying
the
to jump the
Mexican
border,
border,
yeah.
and I'm gonna find the cartel.
It's an iconic moment on a television show. In real life, that would be, Bradshaw would deserve
You
a good
know,
track.
I'm surprised UPN didn't have a fucking shit fit over that, but they had a shit fit over Muhammad Hassan.
Yeah,
But to be
I
fair, Muhammad
but
Hassan was just really, 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 really bad timing.
that's just what I was about to say. It was bad timing
It was
because
it was like literally
they
the worst possible time. It's like running that angle on 9/11. The
they
day of it was like the 9/11 memorial episode,
it
but
was essentially
they still have
it,
Muhammad Hassan on it.
well the equivalent would be to air it to do it a week before 9/11 because
Yeah,
that's essentially the it may have aired like the day of the attack, but it was shot like Tuesday, 2 days before it.
yeah.
So I guess it would be the equivalent would be shooting it 2 days
So
before 9/11.
they could have edited it out. I mean,
Yeah,
they could have edited it out and have Hassan cut a promo at Stanford about like,
yeah,
oh, I'm gonna beat the Undertaker, I'm gonna do this and that, and then
they could have
the
did that
whole the whole
absolutely.
attack footage would have just been lost media
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
to appear on
they
the
could
vault
have did that.
to appear on the vault one day.
Yeah, I don't know if they put it up on the vote, but yeah, it would have long before the vote. It would have appeared on YouTube somewhere.
Well, yeah, I
But
mean Paul Bearer's the other footage of Paul Bearer's cement thing was
yes,
put on the internet.
I
So
remember watching that, and I was like, wow, this is crazy.
poor Muhammad Hassan, they just did Dark Side of the Ring on him.
I know I gotta watch. I am
Could
behind.
have been a world champion.
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
real crappy time.
I'm behind on Dark Side.
And
I gotta watch it.
the way he described like oh we're gonna it was such a good idea because they were gonna have him beat Batista at
Mhm.
SummerSlam was in DC that year. So it would have been Muhammad Hassan beating the American hero in the capital of DC. I'm like, oh
Right.
my god, that sounds cool. That sounds like an amazing idea. But then shit, real life happens, and plus
Yeah.
that wouldn't have made evented. That would have Hogan and Michaels made event that year. So
Right. Right. So now we have like I said, there was no Raw rebound yet because that comes into play after the draft. But like I said, we still get that flashback to the last week's Raw, McMahon announcing the upcoming draft. And now here is where the show, which is really good at this time, takes a bit of a downswing. And it's not horrible at all, but it's just it a lot it goes downhill a little bit here. We have Dawn Marie in the locker room. It's not Dawn Marie's fault. She looks amazing here. By
no,
the way,
no, no. This is a
no.
fault.
This is like literally the first show after WrestleMania 20. We got no Tori Wilson. Like, how do we have no Tori Wilson? No Sable either. Like, what? The only time we,
Stable's still here.
yes, she leaves after Great American Bash.
Uh,
Yeah. Uh,
she
I
was
just
too
look
upset about Paul Bearer.
her last appearance was she was in the ring with Eddie Guerrero that summer. This was leading up to SummerSlam, where Eddie's like giving away some of Kurt Angle's stuff.
Yeah,
Like that was either her last or second to last segment. I literally was just looking into this not too long ago. I was looking at, oh, what was her last, and I came across like what her last appearance was, but I can't remember if that was the actual last or the second to last. But I think it
She,
may have been the last one.
yeah, she's got to
Um,
leave so she can date George Clooney
hmm. So we have
and then marry Brock.
Dawn Marie in the locker room with Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas, Billy Gunn, and Rey Mysterio. And Dawn tells them that Heyman wanted all of them in this locker room here because he is not very happy. And that is when Paul Heyman walks in before Dawn Marie can even say everything that she was going to say. Dawn gets scared. She just hightails it. Paul Heyman says he is still upset that the locker room allowed Austin to get his hands on Heyman, as Heyman just tells you all night that he's upset about that. Um, so he says that we're going to play a game of divide and conquer. He says, and here's a big reason why show takes a bit of a downturn here. Tonight is a gauntlet, and this gauntlet takes up the whole damn show from here on out, where the winner faces Eddie Guerrero for the title. He then tells them, I don't want to see you guys anymore. Just get the hell out of here. But then Shelton gets in, walks over to him and is like, there's no divide and conquer. We're the world's greatest tag team. He says we're, meaning him and Charlie Haas, not him, Charlie Haas, Billy Gunn, and Rey Mysterio.
Obviously, they're the greatest tag team.
That obviously pisses Heyman off, as if he wasn't pissed off already. So much that he announces that the gauntlet is starting next, and it's going to be Shelton Benjamin taking on Charlie Haas. So the segment here was not bad at all. Like, again, Heyman being pissed off. Heyman was the MVP of this show, which is kind of funny. I already know what my segment of the night is, and Heyman's not even in the segment of the night. But the segment of the night actually comes within this second hour, which I've been sitting here saying could have been a lot better. But it's literally a short segment. But yeah, this segment right here was really good. Heyman just going off on the locker room again. He is stressed. He is pissed off at everybody. He wants them all to go to Raw next week, and he'll take the whole Raw roster, which at that point would have been a win for SmackDown if they just all traded rosters. Even though obviously SmackDown would literally be losing the guy who's about to become the face of the company, but they literally ultimately did lose him when he became the face
Yeah,
of the company. So, great segment. What were your thoughts here on Heyman just berating the locker room and announcing this gauntlet?
I do find it funny how he's just so done that he doesn't even care that the world's greatest tag team, the tag team that he had a hand in making a thing,
Right.
that they're about to fight each other. They're about to fight each other. But I do
Well,
find it interesting that Shelton Benjamin, who spoiler gets drafted to Raw,
yes.
is the one who says, "But hold on, we're a tag team. We're the
Yeah.
world's greatest tag team. Why would we fight each other?"
Right. Um.
Kind of a face tendency, like, "But we're a tag team. Why would we go after
Exactly.
each other?"
So we kick it off here. This. Oh well. First, we have a WrestleMania 20 recap, a little video package here where we actually do see Tori Wilson and Sable. It's literally the only time of the night where we see Tori Wilson and Sable. Where it's the same vignette video package that aired after WrestleMania ended, like right after they played the whole
Yeah.
recap video, and now we
Step
kick
up,
off.
step up.
Right, right. Now we kick off the gauntlet for the gold, if you will. Shelton Benjamin taking on Charlie Haas. One of these guys is going to have to beat Billy Gunn, Rey Mysterio, and their own tag team partner just to get a shot at Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero later in the night. Not really later in the night, literally right after the gauntlet ends. This is the whole rest of the show. This gauntlet and a title match that the gauntlet leads to. Um, The match itself, look, I'm a big Charlie Haas fan. We've talked about the this leading up to Judgment Day, where he goes and teams with Rico. You already spoiled it, so I don't have to say it. The reason why he teams with Rico is because Shelton Benjamin goes to Raw. Charlie Haas has nothing to do there, so they just put him with Rico, and that team worked for a good comedic tag team for a very short period of time. I was very entertained by that. But and I am a fan of the world's greatest tag team. I love them as a tag team. You know, growing up as somebody who watched SmackDown every week, I was a big fan of both of them. But this match itself, the crowd didn't care. They didn't seem to care. I give this 1 star. Shelton Benjamin wins it with the Dragon Whip. And then we have a really cool moment within the world's greatest tag team. And I think the reason why they're doing this is without exactly spoiling to the crowd that one of them was going to Raw. This was their way of ending the world's greatest tag team. Benjamin got out of the ring after pinning Haas, but then came right back in the ring. They're both staring each other down while they're both like on their knees in the ring. So they just went through hell to try to move on in this gauntlet. So they're both on their knees staring each other down. Benjamin walks over to him, offers the hand. They shake hands. Benjamin pulls his tag team partner up, Charlie Haas, and they hug. I mean, you can tell this from a live standpoint. You're seeing this as well. These two just went through an emotional battle. They're tag team partners,
Yeah.
but they had to do this because they both want the undisputed title. But in reality, this is the WWE's way of giving the world's greatest tag team their send off moment, and it was a cool moment, and sadly sort of forgotten because I enjoyed it. The match itself, not nothing to be said there. But what are your thoughts on the match and the pretty much the send off afterwards?
It's tough because Shelton is so good in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll beat Triple H within 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny to think about.
Yep.
But
And he beat
it's
him 2
obvious,
weeks in a row.
yeah, it's obvious at this point they're turning face.
Right.
And Charlie turns face too, so that's
Yes.
pretty cool that they both.
I mean,
Because they had been heels for their whole careers in
yes.
WWE, so
This is a face moment here where they're both shaking each other's hands and hugging each other. Obviously, it's a baby face moment. I don't know. Charlie House kind of is a baby face in the Rico tag team, even though he was not too fond of some of the stuff Rico did. But yeah, he was they were both baby faces there. So yeah, this was kind of the baby face turn for Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, who were about to split.
yeah, but yeah, R.I.P. the freaking SmackDown Tag Division. Shit,
Oh, absolutely.
they're
AP,
losing two. They're losing 2 teams in one night.
yeah,
But
APA.
they do gain the Dudleys.
That's true. That's true. APA just split though, and Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin are about to split next week because they get drafted, or this
Yeah.
Monday because they get drafted. Shelton gets drafted to Raw. It's very similar to our last Road 2, which also had a draft where the Dudleys got split, and just like in this Road 2, the APA splits.
Yeah.
And
You would have thought when Booker T and RVT get traded to SmackDown, you'd think, oh,
yeah,
another tag team. Nope.
there's your tag title match for Judgment Day. RVD and Booker T versus the Dudleys. No, we're splitting RVD and Booker T. In fact, I think RVD and Booker T don't they? Oh no, yeah, Booker does turn heel after getting drafted.
Because pissed off. He's like, oh, I'm on the B show. I want to be on the A show, man.
For a second, I thought they split on Raw before the draft. No, they didn't. Yeah, Booker T just came and was like, I'm on the freaking B show. I hate this. So
I didn't want to work Tuesdays.
Eddie Guerrero gets in his face like, don't disrespect my show, because obviously he's the champ. So it's like, this is his locker room at this moment. And that is where we get ultimately the debut of JBL, even though he had been on the show for a long time at this point, but the character JBL debuts where the main event for next week's SmackDown, spoiler alert, is Eddie Guerrero defending his title against Booker T. That match ends in a no contest, or really a disqualification, after Bradshaw interferes and beats the hell out of Eddie Guerrero. And we're off and running with, in my opinion, the best feud of 2004.
They had Eddie defend the title a lot.
Yes, he defends the title on this show.
Yeah, but he defends his title because he defends his title tonight. Defends it
Yeah.
on Monday against Triple H.
I was just about to
defends it next week.
I was just about to ask because we do have to talk about this because we're at the point where the next SmackDown is right after the draft, and obviously the draft has a lot of SmackDown guys on it, but at the same point, it doesn't exactly have any build to Judgment Day on.
I don't want to review a random ass Raw.
Okay, so we will not review. We will leave the 2004 draft to the road to Backlash.
Yes, eventually 2004.
Yes, the road to Backlash 2004 actually.
Where we have to rewatch the Raw, the Raw before WrestleMania, and then the WrestleMania, and so on. So
the Raw after WrestleMania, not before. Yeah. I like to just call it the road to the pay-per-view and not include the year. And obviously, I would hope that people don't get too confused when I say that, because you just look at the title of the review and you'll know. Oh, they're Judgment Day 04. Okay, yeah, we're on the road to Judgment Day.
Which one? Judgment Day, you know.
Look at the title of the show, but yeah, which one would be 2004?
Well, see, hold on. If we did a Road to No Mercy in 1989, you'd have to specify which No Mercy.
Right, the road to the we don't do road to UK pay-per-views because there is no road. There's no road. Yeah,
I think there was I feel like there might have been a road though for that No Mercy one.
UK, I don't necessarily think so. I do know that it felt like the way they built it up, the show on the show, like the way they did that show was so freaking good. People say what I'm about to say when talking about a pay-per-view. They mean this in a bad way. I mean this in a good way. No Mercy 99 UK, No Mercy UK felt like a Raw. And I mean that in a good way, especially when we're talking about 1999 Raws. Like, that felt like a Raw show, and it had so much going on. It wasn't just about the matches. It was a really fun show, a very underrated show. Not the type of show that somebody who is looking for a great match here and there would enjoy, but I myself personally, who's looking for good television storylines, I enjoyed that show. But yeah, No Mercy 99. Look, 1999 is one of my favorite years. We will be doing road twos for every damn pay-per-view that year. I mean, the time period of 97 through 06, at some point we will have done a road two to every pay-per-view. But hopefully that will be a long time from now.
That would be years in the making.
And
then
hopefully
finally we would have you do 2007.
No.
For 100 shows, Brian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying hopefully it's not anytime soon. But hey, we talk Mets on here, we talk Islanders on here. By the time we're done with all the wrestling talk that we can talk, you and Christian can continue the wrestling talk, and I'll move. And
then we have to move on to WCW shows.
Oh, we can still do WCW shows. Some WCW shows have been reviewed as part of the FCT Retro Wrestling. You've been on one of them. The
Slamboree.
Oh, well, you did Slamboree too. Okay, but the Nitro. Yes, Slamboree 2000. But the
they made fun of what's it called? Ready to Rumble.
Awesome movie, but the Nitro where was it Russo winning the title? No, it wasn't Russo winning the title, but it was some type of main event. No, War Games 2000. I think that is where Russo won the title. We covered that. You were here for that. I know that. This was early into your being a
Yeah.
part of this YouTube channel, but so yeah, Shelton Benjamin wins. He moves on. The match itself was not that special in my opinion, but the little handshake and hug was a great moment after that. Did you give your thoughts? Because we
Yeah.
just went, yeah, we went completely off there for a second. Uh, Here's a really good DVD. I love this DVD. We have the commercial for the John Cena Word Life DVD, which came out late '03, and I guess it's still fresh here where they're still promoting it. This is the only DVD that they ever released where John Cena was still basic thugonomics. John Cena.
Yeah.
There's no other John Cena DVD that's strictly a tribute essentially to John Cena basic thugonomics. Any other Cena DVDs after this was, the guy, the main
Yeah.
star, John Cena. Now we have the typical WWE.com thing that they do after any pay per view where they show the picture of the website where they're covering WrestleMania and everything. We got that right there. And now we have the APA backstage. Farouk is getting ready to leave. He's got his bag with him. He's got a towel over his arm, over his shoulder, and he's walking out. Then Bradshaw bursts into the camera shot, stops Farouk. He's like, "Listen, don't leave. You got to understand. I can't walk away from all this. I got a portfolio to worry about. I'm, Fox News and everything. I got my book, I'm blowing up right now. You got to understand where I'm coming from. I can't just leave all this just because you said something stupid." You still think he hasn't turned heel yet? You still think he
Look,
hasn't
look,
turned
Farouk said something stupid.
Farouk
I gotta leave, Frank. I'm sorry. I gotta leave, Frank. I'm sorry. I can't help it if you said something stupid.
Farouk just looks at Bradshaw's like, "Really? You say that, huh?" And he just walks away, and he walks away disgusted, and that is the end of APA. But
Can we still be friends?
yes, Bradshaw just says, "Can't we still be friends?" And my only gripe with this segment, I love this segment. Again, great drama here. My only gripe is when right after Bradshaw says, you expect me to walk away just because you said something stupid, which was a great line because it just shows, he's legitimately becoming a heel now. Even as a kid, I was like, am I supposed to hate Jay? Am I supposed to hate Bradshaw yet right now? Because I understand, like, he's got a lot of stuff going on. Why would he leave that? And then when like he makes a line like that, just because you said something stupid, like, that was a great line, but Farouk's reaction, the camera shot kind of screwed it up a little bit. It's like you can't really see Farouk. Like you kind of get the way he's obviously staring at Bradshaw, and obviously he didn't take too kindly to that. But the camera shot to me needed to, kind of get the shot of Farouk's face a little better. So that's on the cameraman, really. That's not on Bradshaw or Farouk. This segment was really good. It was an emotional segment, but that kind of had a bit of a funny ending. Like you said, can't we still be friends? It's like, Bradshaw, you just called him. Well, I don't know if he called him, so you just said he said something stupid, and that's the reason why this is all happened. But can't we still be friends? True. The reason why we don't get as much views as most popular YouTube channels do is because every week you come on here and say something stupid.
Well, I'll be damned.
Can't we still be friends though? So
Now, here's the awkward part.
yeah,
Don't you think JBL and Farouk probably came in the same car?
that's right. Who's Bradshaw ain't got a ride.
No. It's even better. Farouk's just sitting in the passenger seat.
He's like, I've been waiting for you. What the hell, man? Let's get out of here so I can never see your face ever again.
Bradshaw's like, you want to play? You want some tunes? So do you want me to drop you off at the hotel or the airport? Because I got to make the next town.
But yeah, the quietest ride to home for Farouk, and for Bradshaw, the quietest ride to the airport, and Teddy Long sitting in the back like, I can't believe you, Bradshaw. I can't believe you. It's your best friend. Farouk just
APA
turns
is
around.
down, but not out.
As I was just about to say that too. Farouk just turns around and is like, shut up, Teddy. Yeah, Teddy. Because Farouk obviously is going through it. He doesn't want to hear anybody talk right now. He's like, shut the hell up. Damn. So
Bradshaw should have said it.
Right after Bradshaw's line where he says, can't we still be friends? Josh Matthews walks up. He's like, Bradshaw, how do you feel about what just happened? Bradshaw says, the APA is down, but we're not out. Running gag, continuing a running gag as you really just did before I did, but we're continuing a running gag from the road to backlash.
When Eddie Guerrero's mother has the heart attack, he goes on the mic, she's down.
Oh man. And for those who don't know exactly what he was just talking about, you will see that as
you will find out the power of GBL.
As part of the road to Judgment Day that happens. Or was it? No, it was Judgment Day, yeah. I thought this segment was awesome. Except again, the cameraman I feel like could have gotten the shot of Farouk's reaction to you said something stupid a little better. Tro, what were your thoughts on this segment?
I thought it was good. Solidifying that Bradshaw's going to be a heel.
Yes.
Going for it, basically.
The because you said something stupid absolutely was like, oh, okay. Bradshaw ain't APA Bradshaw anymore. He's a heel now. You know, he ain't the beer drinker. He ain't the beer drinker anymore. He's got the 10-gallon hat on, although he obviously ain't wearing it here on this show. But the moment he said, because you said say something stupid, 10-gallon hat just flew in midair and bang, landed right on his head. And
the freaking Darth Vader theme. Slowly on his head.
And Bradshaw literally just in that very moment lost his Texan accent and became a New Yorker, a transplanted New Yorker.
I'm from New York.
Which can you believe that WWE did that to us because he's from New York now. He's a heel. What do you got against us, WWE? What do you got against us, SmackDown writers?
Yeah,
2004.
Yeah. Although he does win a championship, so
yeah. Typical New Yorker.
Typical New Yorker wins championship.
Longest reigning champion in SmackDown history. He absolutely is a typical New Yorker.
Yeah. Not saying much, but yeah.
So right in the middle, so right after that, we go right back to remember there's a gauntlet going on. That's literally
Shelton's just standing in the ring, by the way, this whole time.
Yeah, Shelton's like, what? He said what?
Shelton's like, I can't help it, Charlie. You said something stupid. Can't we still be friends?
So, I was gonna say that was the last segment of the night, but it technically isn't because the main event is followed up by a mini segment to end the show. So Shelton Benjamin, match number 2 in the gauntlet. He now has to take on Billy Gunn.
And he's a nice man.
Can't blame him. And another meaningless, not meaningless match. Obviously, they're wrestling essentially to get a title shot, but The match itself, not much to say about it. 1 star for me. Benjamin wins with a roll up, and he holds the ropes for leverage. So he had his babyface moment, but he's still on SmackDown, so he
Yeah.
has to be a heel for like the final moments of this show until the show goes off the air. Well, actually, technically, once you start Raw and he's on Raw for that moment, he has to be a heel until his name is said out loud by Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
Just like when JBL said you said something stupid, the 10-gallon hat, boom, came right on his head. When Eric Bischoff said we are drafting Shelton Benjamin, uh, the the metaphorical Mr. Benjamin just floated. If you remember, after he beat Triple H, he said, "You will refer to me as Mr. Benjamin." The words "Mr. Benjamin" floated above Shelton Benjamin's head right after he was drafted to Raw. He became a babyface in that very moment. So yeah, like I said, Benjamin versus Billy Gunn, not much to talk about. 1 star. Although I like Benjamin winning as a heel, although maybe not the smartest thing when he's about to become
Well,
babyface, but he's still a heel here, so I get
yeah.
it. Thoughts on the match here. Second part of the gauntlet.
This is the hold on. I'm trying to deal with like where these big ass freaking lightning bugs or whatever the hell they are.
You need to get that buzz light, that thing that when they buzz by it, they get buzzed.
I think these fucking things would break it.
I don't know what the hell you
The
call that. What do you call that light?
bug zapper.
Bug zapper. Okay, yeah, you need to get that.
these, these things are fucking humongous. It's really good. Eat a cat. Eat my cat.
Yeah.
Harvey, beware.
Shout out to Harvey though. I got to see a little bit of Harvey. I think after our last show, right when we.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I am
I
outside,
love.
so sometimes she might come by and meow as a cameo. Give her thoughts
If
on the show.
Yeah, if there's one thing that we have in common besides being Met fans and Islander fans and at least WWE fans to a point of I have before 2006 for me. Um, we both love cats. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't have one at the moment, sadly, but I have a childhood cat named Meow who sadly passed
Her
away in
name was what?
2006. Her name was Meow. Listen, when we got that cat, I was a kid.
You
I
weren't a
was
very clever
I don't think I
name.
named it. I don't think I named it though because it was my sister's cat, really. And
Your
but
sister was very creative when naming a cat. Let's name it Meow.
yeah, yeah,
Like it's
that
like
was
naming a
pretty much.
cow Moo.
But I absolutely love that cat, and I always will. And hopefully, it's up in cat heaven right now, looking down.
Cat heaven.
Um,
It's just cat heaven is just sleeping all day. Get endless food.
yeah. So as soon as the match ends, Big Show's theme hits to Michael
Well,
to Michael Cole, and Taz is surprised. Mostly Michael Cole surprises. Cole's like, "Is Big Show in this?" Because in that backstage segment, it was just Benjamin, Haas, Gunn, and Mysterio. So shouldn't Shelton Benjamin be facing Rey Mysterio right now? Well, Big Show comes out after we go to break. We have Big Show back in the still. We have Big Show in the ring. Benjamin standing on the outside, and Big Show says that the United States title is missing from his gigantic shoulder as John Cena stole it from him. He says John did what it took to win because that is what a United States champion does or should do, excuse me. Um, so one guy is saying everybody thinks he destroyed the prestige of the title. That's Cena saying that about himself. And that, or well, Cena saying that the people are saying that about himself. The other guy, who obviously is the heel, isn't worried about that. He says Cena did the right thing, but obviously he wants the title, so he's got to call John Cena a cheater. Which he says he did the right thing. He did what any U.S. champion would do, but he cheated and became another Boston Street Punk. Again, this show taking place in Boston, John Cena's hometown. He says
Team Boston.
Big Show says he had a talk with Paul Heyman, and essentially, Big Show got back on Heyman's side because remember, Heyman's mad at everybody. He's mad at the heels too, not just the baby faces. But he and Heyman hashed it out. Big Show explained everything, and that was it. They beef squashed. So Heyman was nice enough to hear Big Show's explanation and after hearing it, he put him in the gauntlet. So Big Show is now in the gauntlet, but he's not the next guy. No, he is the final guy, which, there's literally one guy left. So obviously, if he's not the next guy, he's the final guy. As
Yeah.
nobody gets a shot at the WWE title, the undisputed title, without going through the Big Show. And he says tonight he is leaving Boston as your champion. We get an upcoming WrestleMania 21 promo as commercial as they're showing that WrestleMania will be in LA as they first said that during WrestleMania 20 itself. The Big Show segment here. I mean, obviously, you got to announce that Big Show's in the gauntlet here at some point. So why not have him do it with a promo? The promo was okay. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the greatest thing ever. What are your thoughts on Big Show?
Kind of a face. Big Show in a way.
It does what?
Kind of like a face.
It makes him a
Face-ish.
face?
No, that doesn't make him a face. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because he admitted that Cena did what he had to do.
Yeah, because he's not like, oh well, it's not totally not fair. He's like, no, he did what he had to do.
But then at the same point, he then turns around and calls Cena a cheater, and this didn't come off as a baby face promo. I'll say that.
I don't think it was total face, but next time we
Right.
see him after this is, in later that year, I think. So, and that's when
Yeah. No. His last appearance was a very memorable one for me. That would be when he choke slams Kurt Angle off the ledge.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Which we are going to cover that, and I can't wait to talk about that.
That's right.
That was a crazy moment for me as a 10-year-old kid watching that happen on the after the fact on Velocity, because I saw the copyright at the bottom of the screen after that RVD Booker T match ended. I was like, well, time to go to bed, and I missed that whole thing. But anyway, main event of the gauntlet, the end of the gauntlet here. Shelton. Oh, wait a minute. No, forget that. Again, Big Show's waiting for the winner of this. Shelton Benjamin taking on Rey Mysterio, the second to last match of the gauntlet before we get the title match. And this would be the best match of the gauntlet. Benjamin and Mysterio always worked great together. The Vengeance 03 match that they had involving obviously Charlie Haas on Shelton's side and Kidman on Rey Mysterio's side. That Vengeance 03 match was tremendous. One of my favorite tag team matches. And Vengeance 03, if WrestleMania 19 did not happen, Vengeance 03 is the best show of 2003. But WrestleMania 19 did happen. So,
Yeah.
I gave this match 3.5 stars. Mysterio got the win with the 619 and then obviously dropped the dime for the pin. And right as the match was ending, cool little shot here. They go backstage. Big Show is watching on the monitor, and he's got a big smile on his face. He thinks he got him. He's got the little man, Rey Mysterio, who, as Michael Cole referenced, since we're talking about pay-per-views from 03, the last time that Big Show and Rey Mysterio were in Boston together, Big Show put Rey Mysterio on a stretcher and swung that stretcher like a baseball bat into the ring post and put Mysterio out for a good week or two, or no, to put him out till Judgment Day. Actually, he returned at
Yeah.
Judgment Day and interfered in the stretcher match between Brock and Big Show. We have a
Nasty ass bump.
yes, we have the Hall of Fame recap. A very emotional Hall of Fame, the first Hall of Fame since 1993. But obviously, they have Bobby Heenan there, and in this video package, they show Heenan saying, "I love this moment, but I just wish I had my best friend with me." He's obviously
And
referring to Gorilla Monsoon. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I just wish Gorilla was still here. Was here.
Yeah, yeah. That's he says that, and
And
that's
hey, look at that. We got Pete Rose, Hall of
yeah.
Famer.
That's how he started his in ceremony, his whole, how do you say it,
Campaign.
not his campaign, but when speech, his whole speech starts
Yeah.
with Bobby Heenan saying, "Guys, I have something to admit. I bet on wrestling." It's one of the best lines in the history of the WWE Hall of Fame. I bet on wrestling.
I bet on
Pete,
wrestling now.
Pete Rose is there at this show because he obviously got inducted into the Hall of Fame himself. Sadly the only Hall of Fame that he got inducted to in his lifetime. He
Oh
belongs
yeah.
he belonged in a different one.
No, well, you see, he's not Japanese, and he didn't blame his bookie. Therefore, he can't. He didn't get away with it.
Well, sadly, that got him banned for life, and that suspension ended back the day Francisco Lindor hit that home run in the ninth inning against the Braves, clinching a playoff spot for us. That was September 30th. That was the end of the lifetime ban, and well,
Yeah, they took that
sadly,
lifetime ban no seriously.
yeah.
They took it literally.
So yeah, sadly, the only Hall of Fame that Pete Rose ever got inducted to in his lifetime, unless there's maybe some,
He's
like
probably put in
college.
the Reds. From in the Reds Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but like the only thing is the WWE Hall of Fame, and that's not the Hall of Fame he belongs in. He belongs in the MLB Hall of Fame.
I'm sure the Nationals will put him in one day.
What does he got to do with that organization?
He was with the Expos, I think.
Oh yeah,
But I
but
think
like
that's where he
for
got his. I think that's where he got the record hit.
okay, then they should, yeah, they should if they haven't already.
Well,
Um,
unfortunately, Pete Rose isn't there, so they can't exactly use him to milk.
yeah. So final match of the gauntlet. This whole rest of this show, this outside of one quick little APA segment, this whole rest of this show has literally been the gauntlet, and the gauntlet leads up to the WWE title, which we go straight into. Rey Mysterio taking on Big Show, and Rey is your winner. He doesn't distract. John Cena distracts the Big Show, and the Big Show gets counted out. Again, I said Mysterio versus Benjamin was the best match of the gauntlet. It was really the only good match of the gauntlet, if you're not counting the eventual title match. Uh, but this is 1 star. We're just moving along here. We got to get to the title match, and that's it. Mysterio gets the win. And what are your thoughts on Mysterio versus Big Show, the rematch of Backlash 2003 in the same, at least in the same city? I'm pretty sure it would be the same arena.
Redemption for good old Ray here, even though he wins via countout.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, time for your
Wins a
main
win.
event. Time for your main event, sponsored by PWHL Vancouver. I love you guys so much. So don't take Sarah Nurse from the Scepters, and don't take Natalie Spooner from the Scepters. I make you the sponsor of our main event tonight, so you guys don't take Spooner and Nursey. How about that?
Well,
Let's agree to that.
Here's my sponsor. My
Go ahead.
sponsor, sponsored by the Panthers. Do you want to know the score?
I don't. I'm gonna watch the show. I'm gonna watch the game. Excuse me. Later.
You're missing that Josh Bailey came out, and Josh Bailey's doing Josh Bailey things right now for the Panthers. Take that as you will. Josh Bailey things. My other sponsor is obviously the Indiana Pacers. Go Pace, go! Kick the Thunder's ass.
Thunder and 4, baby.
I don't know why
4.
the NBA has so many days off in between their games. Just kind of
So
solidifies what I think.
tell us your second sponsor again.
The indie.
He's banned. He's banned for the, but we still got a whole road to get to.
And their Pacers.
Yeah, you're banned. As
I
soon as
waited
we finish the road to Judgment Day, you're banned.
Oh man, this is the series finale, folks. The last road.
That's history there. That's the first time we've ever had 3
Can we
sponsors
still
for a minute.
can we still be friends?
It's
I'm down, but I'm not out.
the FCT ENT. We get sponsors for the main event of our pro wrestling
Yeah.
reviews.
I mean,
We
you
pick.
got
We get to pick our sponsors. They don't pay us, but we get to pick our sponsors.
we don't call them. We call them. They don't call us.
Well, like I said,
Pacers go.
you're banned. But like I said, me and PWHL PWHL Vancouver have come to an agreement. I make them the sponsor of this main event, so they do not take Sarah Nurse or Natalie Spooner away from the Toronto City.
You're not gonna like my agreement with the Indiana Pacers. Sorry.
Well, fuck your sponsor. And I predicted on my Facebook page before the game, I predicted that it's Oilers in 6. So I won't say fuck your other sponsor, but I just disagree with your other sponsor.
Now, why would an Islander fan be rooting for the Oilers? Some Islander fans
Because they're in the West and they are not rivals to us.
are the Panthers rivals to us? They're not in the same division.
I didn't say they were. Neither teams are rivals to us, but I have a team that I want to see win. It has nothing to do with rooting.
Very un-American of you.
It has nothing to do with rooting interest. There's no rooting
interest. Against America. Typical Frank, always anti-America. Didn't want us to win the Four Nations face-off.
I didn't care who won the Four Nations face-off.
The whole way.
As long as Brock Nelson didn't get hurt.
Don't worry, he didn't do jack shit except for ice the puck, which led to Canada win. So
WWE title: Eddie Guerrero facing Rey Mysterio here in the main event. Eddie wins the title with a roll-up. We are roll-up Smackdown tonight, which I have no problem with that, although, some of these roll-ups just feel, especially this one, this felt a little anticlimactic. It didn't feel like the crowd was really ready for the match then. It's like they weren't excited, like, so it kind of made that feel anticlimactic, and that is why I only give this 3.5. But I will give this match of the night. And Eddie wins, so Eddie retains the title. Before I get to segment of the night, we have to actually cover one more segment because the show's not over. Paul Heyman comes out and tells Eddie and Ray that he has a vision for SmackDown and it doesn't involve them. He says he hopes they get he doesn't hope they get drafted to Raw. He doesn't care about them getting drafted. He wants them to get deported. And that's when Bradshaw comes out and says, I do too.
I agree. He already has a suit on and a limousine.
Yeah, the limousine.
Ding, 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 ding. I agree.
He says next week is a new beginning for SmackDown as he's the only person, Heyman is, he says he's the only person guaranteed to be on SmackDown next week. Spoiler. They're essentially spoiling it. If he's going to say that, that seems a bit weird that he's saying that. He says he will employ his vision. He will be respected by his locker room. And there's not a man alive. You know what? Something always happens when somebody says that around this time in WWE. There's not a man alive. Like, watch this. There isn't a man alive. Uh-oh.
Oh, yay.
I don't know. That always happens. You say there's not a man alive in the WWE back in these days, and the lights immediately go out. So he says there is not a man alive who can stand in his way. Lights go out. Undertaker comes out with Paul Bearer
Oh yes.
rocking a Buffy shirt. He is extremely pissed off that we have not had a episode of Buffy in almost a full calendar year, and he's about to take it out on Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio.
Kill them! Kill those motherfuckers! By the way, Frank, did you like my new bandana that I gave the Undertaker? It's to show off the fact that he didn't grow his hair out long enough in time.
He does have a bandana, yes.
He never wears this bandana again. I don't know why Zombie needs a bandana, but okay.
So Paul Heyman obviously is trying to get away from Undertaker, and well, when you're in a moment like this, you may not be thinking straight. Heyman sees the only way of getting away from Undertaker is sliding in the ring, where the two guys he just said he hopes gets deported are, and where the one guy who he's afraid of is headed for. This ain't gonna end well for Paul Heyman.
No.
He backs into the ring. Undertaker gets into the ring. Heyman is on this corner with he's standing in front of Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, and Eddie and Rey are just standing there. They don't give a damn at what's going on. They're on all three of them are on this corner. Undertaker is on this corner, so they are literally face to face, just a lot of ring separating them. Paul Heyman starts yelling, "Help! Help!" The guys behind him aren't going to help him. Well, they might help him a little with a nice little nudge coming up, but they're not going to help him. So he's trying to hope that maybe Big Show, because he's the only guy he cares about in this locker room at this point, can come out and help him. And Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio push Heyman into Undertaker. Undertaker grabs Paul Heyman. You know what's coming. Tombstone. We go off the air. Funny thing about the title match, during the title match, Taz and Cole are obviously calling this match. Michael Cole tells Taz, "Partner, this may be the last time you and I are commentating together." Taz comes back with a funny line, it's like, "Don't make me cry now. Don't make me cry now." But the reason why it's interesting, I actually looked up, as somebody who grew up on SmackDown around this time. I'm a big Cole and Taz guy. They're obviously fellow Met fans, so I love them for that too. But I wanted to look up because I had no idea truly what Cole and Taz's final call was. I was thinking that when Matt Hardy turned on Jeff Hardy at the '09 Rumble, I thought that would be it, because that was Taz's last show, right? And I thought maybe Cole was on call for that as well.
No.
But I think that would be Taz and JR.
Their last call would have been. Now, do you want to get technical, or do you want to get because technically the last match that they commentated together as a one-off would have been Armageddon 07. Because JBL attacked Jericho, and then because it was cold JBL that time, so Taz jumped in for that one main event.
Oh, then that would be their last one.
Yeah, but it was kind of like it probably said what July or June of 06.
Yeah.
Because that's when Taz joined ECW.
Yeah, I count that then. But the reason why I said this was weird was because I Googled this, like, what was the last match that Taz and Cole called together, and Meta AI, which is when you Google, that's what comes up. Meta AI starts generating it, and they were like, well, the last one that they called was Rey Mysterio. So it was, in Google's eyes at least, that Rey Mysterio was the last match. As Cole is saying, this may be the last match we ever call, and Mysterio was in the ring. Sadly, Eddie Guerrero was no longer with us at this time, so he wasn't involved in this. But Mysterio was facing Finlay in the main event of the June 9th, 2006 SmackDown.
That's also not true, by the way.
What's not true?
So they got that. They got that. They got that one wrong. Very wrong. That
Completely
might have
wrong.
been the main event for the night.
Okay.
But at that point, Taz had already joined. Had already left
Really?
mid-show. So Paul
Oh.
Heyman actually jumps in for the main event of that show.
Oh wow! So they did. Google screwed up horribly.
They got. I
Yeah.
think they got the show right. They just didn't get the
Yeah.
match right.
Well, the funny thing is the AI kind of was explaining it like even they don't truly know because they said they were like Taz left after this show. The main event of the show was this, so this may very well have been the last one.
Yeah.
So even Google didn't really truly think that that they may be getting this wrong. They obviously thought they were getting it wrong too, but they got it wrong on so many levels because not only did Cole and Taz not call that match, or Taz didn't with Cole. Cole called it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't even the last time they called a match. As you said,
Yeah.
Armageddon
As
07.
as a team of just the two of them,
Yeah,
that would have been the last match. Because other than Royal Rumbles or
right.
Royal Rumbles were probably the only time they would have really interacted with each other after that.
So I gave my the segment was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great way to go off the air. Obviously Heyman's really excited. He feels like he could lose all these guys he hates, from Cena to Mysterio to Eddie Guerrero to Undertaker to, in his mind, the whole damn roster outside of Big Show. So he's really excited about this, and now Undertaker comes down to the ring, and all night Paul Heyman was frustrated. And how did he put it? I forgot the term. He was stressed. Yes, all night Paul Heyman was stressed out. And how do you deal with stress? Well, you don't take a tombstone. That's surely not how you deal with stress. So Paul Heyman ended this show stressed, and this show, spoiler alert, especially if we're not going to cover the draft, spoiler alert, this was Paul Heyman's last SmackDown as GM, and it's going to be the last time we see him in this road to. He does not come back until Heidenreich shows up on the scene.
No, he doesn't. No, because remember he shows up for the Dudleys.
Oh, what am I saying? You're right. Okay.
But I don't think we see him. We don't see him, I think, though. Because I think he only comes back after Judgment Day.
Right. Yeah, so I was actually right that we don't see him again.
Yeah.
But I literally was just calling it one of the better storylines of the year, and a big reason why I loved SmackDown in 04, and yet I just literally forgot about it for a hot second.
Okay, are you sure you're not Google Gemini?
I'm not what? Oh yeah.
Are you sure you're not the AI?
Yeah, the AI dropping the ball as I do too. Match of the night, like I said, was Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, because essentially there really wasn't. I mean, Cena and Rhino to kick off the show was good. Mysterio and Benjamin was good, but there really wasn't much to pick up. There wasn't no standout match of the night, just like the last show we covered before Backlash. Obviously, the last weekly show we covered. Segment of the night, I said it. It took place during the second half of the show that really brought the show down. And my segment of the night is APA, Farouk leaving, and Bradshaw trying to be like, look at where I'm coming from, and we're only breaking up because you said something stupid. That's my segment of the night. Although, again, the cameraman kind of ruined the you said something stupid line because we didn't really get to see Farouk's face. Farouk kind of turns his head. Obviously, he's got to turn it to look at Bradshaw, and the cameraman's like facing right in front of Farouk. So the cameraman kind of has to shift in front of them to really get that shot, and he didn't do that. He or she, I'm pretty sure it would be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know the cameraman roster for WWE. And any time, not even in 2004, but whoever the cameraman was, they did not do a good job in that segment. But it's still my segment of the night. Overall, well, before you give overall, your match and segment of the night. Oh, well, your thoughts. Did I ask your thoughts?
No.
Thoughts on the title match first.
So here's my issue with the title match.
Okay.
And it's retroactive because the following year, the whole Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero storyline is,
Right.
oh, Eddie, you've never beaten Ray. You've never beaten Ray. You've never beaten Ray. Brother, you beat him. You beat him the year before.
This is more your problem with Mysterio and Eddie's feud.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
the match itself is fine, but
Yeah.
it's like, and that's why I said retroactively.
Yeah. I know. I get. I
It's
totally
like, it's like, but you guys had a match last year. This was
what,
the match. You beat him,
what
Eddie.
I'm
Clean.
saying is you can't blame 2004 WWE for
Yeah.
something 2005 WWE is doing. So that's your problem more with the storyline in '05
Yeah.
than the match here. But
I mean,
I
it's a
get
good
it.
match. This is a good
Yeah.
match. I mean, Ray and Eddie are so damn good in the ring together. So it's always magic.
I mean,
That whole storyline doesn't have any legs because it's
yeah.
you beat him. You beat him last year, Eddie. Come on.
That's the first part of their storyline where it goes up to like WrestleMania. They add on to it, especially once they get with the Dominic storyline. That was really good.
Well,
You know,
the whole one of Ray's lines for the SummerSlam match was, "You've beaten drugs, you've done this, but you've never beaten Rey Mysterio." I'm like,
yeah.
you beat him last year. You beat him in WCW. What are you talking about, Ray?
Oh, he beat him at in WCW. Oh yeah, he won the
Yeah,
Eddie won
I'm
the
sure
Halloween Havoc, or did Ray win Halloween
Ray
Havoc?
won it, but I'm sure Eddie's beat. And at first, I'm like, oh, well, maybe they just don't care. Maybe they're not counting like WCW, or it's a different company. But they beat him. They beat him here. WWE clean.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. When you put history into a storyline, you should really look into it before doing that. I will agree with that.
The storyline itself was fine. It was fine. It's
Oh,
just
it was one of
when you
the
do story, when you do
yeah.
history, you gotta kind of get it right.
2005 SmackDown had the Orton Undertaker feud, which was
That's
so
what
damn
got me.
good. Mysterio and yeah, we covered your first show. Mysterio and Eddie, which was so damn good. There were some really good storylines. Even Kurt Angle and Booker for that 1 month. I always end up loving the dramatic storylines that like last a month. That everybody hates. Not a lot of people like the Concrete Crips storyline, and nobody likes Kurt Angle and Booker T from the
Because
storyline.
Kurt was saying some stupid ass shit.
Again,
Creepy ass shit.
oh, and again, if Kurt Angle, which I'm as far as I know, he's never done this with people in real life, but if he actually did, like he's an asshole for that. But when a character on a television show does this, he's a damn good villain, a damn good heel. That's what I'm saying, and it adds
I want to have
drama.
bestiality sex.
They could have did without him actually saying
Exactly.
that, but
That's what I'm
that
saying.
doesn't
That's what people's. That's
that
kind of where
doesn't
people's
ruin
main problem was.
that doesn't ruin the whole storyline though. Like he could have absolutely not said that. I agree with that. They could
It's
have
also it's
gone.
also kind of out of character for Kurt.
He was a heel though. I don't think for him
But
as a
his
heel.
character, Kurt's character, even when he was a heel, was never, oh, I'm this sex crazed motherfucker.
Yeah, but well, they probably felt like Kurt Angle needed a little more heat on him, and I have no problem with
They put
that.
him on Raw they put him on the
They
Raw
did.
like 2 weeks later. And he was
They
back
did.
to normal.
No, he stayed heel.
He
Well,
stayed heel,
back
but
to
I'm saying
normal.
he
Back to
wasn't
yeah.
like he wasn't going to the moon's like, oh, now I really want this shit.
Well, he didn't have Charmel anymore. That's why.
That's right. They didn't have Jazz there anymore, so there was no more black women. There was
Right.
no more minorities for him to assault.
Um, but yeah, it's fun. You know, in 2005, at the exact time that I was watching this stuff, I was starting to feel nostalgia for like '03, '04. Literally what just happened a year prior, '04. And, you know, the summer of '04 was one of my favorite times watching WWE, and I was really starting to miss that. So like '05 WWE felt like a drag as I was watching it. Even though I did have some, like, I loved Eminem, I loved Melina. There was stuff I was enjoying, but like as I'm enjoying this, my nostalgia eyes were screwing everything up. So for a long time, I was like, oh, my favorite time period ends in like '04. But after the network became a thing, and I actually rewatched 2005, I'm like, this is damn good. This is all not that different from what they were doing in '03 and '04. So I
Which is
love
why
this.
when we eventually get you to watch '06, you'll move it up.
Uh, I've watched some '06 Raws and like couldn't even finish.
Well, those are Raws.
SmackDown. What are you gonna? What am I gonna fall in love with SmackDown? We got
Paul
William
Burchill.
Regal matches. We got Paul Burchill. Like,
Pirate Paul Burchill.
oh my gosh!
Will
Oh
make
my
you love
gosh!
2006.
Oh my gosh! William Regal and Chris Benoit beat each other to a bloody pulp. Oh
That was
wow!
a paper.
Chris Benoit. No, I think on one SmackDown though. I think they did that too. I don't know.
You will love Pirate Paul Burchill, damn it.
But I thought it was entertaining back then.
Even though it was just
I'm
Johnny Depp.
I enjoyed it back then, so I'm sure I'll enjoy it again. But it's not. It doesn't make the whole show good. Like
Disc.
the one thing when we do road twos for '06 stuff, which as I've said before, we're allowing that now. I'm allowing that, but we are not going beyond '06. You're not going to get me to do a road two in '07, '08,
I will
9,
get
10. You know,
Royal
today.
Rumble. Royal Rumble 2007. Could you imagine we have to watch 3 shows for that? We have to do 3 road twos for that.
Royal Rumble '07 was a fun show, but if there's anything that has to get me to watch a weekly show from '07, not gonna happen. We're not doing that. No. What was I gonna say? The road. So we've added '06. The one thing I'm excited about to really live for the first time because I didn't. Well, I did get to watch Raw in '06, but not a lot. So the one thing I'm wanting to rewatch is that feud of Cena and Edge, and
So good.
I would love to relive. And you don't like
Now,
this, but DX in '06.
now here's the issue with the '06.
Mhm.
Because obviously I'm going to be favoring '06 shows, and obviously we can't do Raws
Not
or
at the moment.
ECWs right now.
Oh, yeah, Raw's not at the moment.
Raws, nobody ECW. I haven't checked. I don't think
I'm
anybody
sure.
has.
I'm sure ECW may be on a VPN on Netflix. I don't know.
It
I've
might
never
be on
checked that.
Peacock.
Is it? It may be. I think it is on Peacock.
Probably is on Peacock. They probably haven't bothered changing it.
Let's see. Go ahead. Say what.
But if we did something like SummerSlam '06,
Yeah.
you know how many ECW shows we have to watch?
How many?
A lot. We'd have to start. Well, I guess I guess we could start from like the show after Great American Bash. But that's 3 weekly shows.
Mm.
And thankfully ECW is only an hour, so it's not too bad.
Oh yeah, I got no problem sitting through a show that's an hour. It's one of the reasons why I love the new generation era, where like Raw wasn't great, but they were able to fit
Yeah.
enough into an hour Raw where it was fun. Like if it was a 2 hour Raw, I probably would be saying they didn't fit enough stuff on it because I mean, who knows? Maybe if they had another hour, maybe they would have done enough stuff. But I love the new generation. I felt like they did enough on those 1 hour Raws for me to enjoy it. I'm obviously not going to put it above the Attitude Era, but if you're not going to do as much interesting stuff, make the shows an hour so it just feels like it's interesting enough. That's my take on that.
Now,
Yeah.
doing SummerSlam '06 would accomplish you getting your DX fix and your Cena
Yeah.
Edge fix. Good
Absolutely.
Cena Edge fix.
Yeah.
So would Unforgiven '06. But
Yes.
we can't do that until the Raws are on the network, on Netflix or whatever.
In 2006, I was in the summer of '06. I was going to Young People's Day Camp, and I had a counselor who was a big wrestling fan, and he took the trip. Ironically, the show we're doing is in Boston. Well, SummerSlam '06 was in
Yep.
Boston. He took the trip to Boston and went to SummerSlam, and I came to the camp the next day, and he's like, "Here you go, got a little something for you." And he actually gave me the shirt to the show, the actual paper shirt, and I still have it. It does not fit me anymore, but I still have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we ever do the road two, you gotta find it.
Oh,
Put it. Try to put it on.
no, I'm not trying to put it on. It does not fit me. I'm telling you. But
Damn.
I, it's in this closet somewhere, so it's in here. I could probably pull it right out of the closet right now. But if we can save that, we can save that for
Yeah.
the road too if you want.
Yeah. Blow dust like just all the dust.
So,
Everything's faded from the
so
years.
yeah. So, give. Do you want? Do you have anything else to say about the title?
My my match of the night title match.
Well,
Same as what I did.
before that though, you got to cover the last segment, which is
Oh yes, my Undertaker tombstoning Paul Heyman. I almost said Paul Bearer. I got my Pauls mixed up.
he,
Tombstoning myself.
how would Paul Bearer get his Pauls mixed up when he's literally Paul Bearer?
I know. There's so many there's so many Pauls. There's Paul Bearer, Paul Burchill, and Paul Heyman.
We need thoughts on Buffy from Paul Bearer. He hasn't said anything about Buffy the whole show.
Oh man, I love my Buffy. Oh, Undertaker, when you're tombstoning Paul Heyman.
Did it again.
When you're tombstoning Paul Heyman. I keep on feeling myself as a fuck up. When you're tombstoning Paul Heyman, just think you're tombstoning the people who ended Buffy. I don't care about Buffy. Nonsense.
So Paul Bearer, it's been a whole year since Buffy, almost a whole calendar year of May of '03. So since Buffy has ended, or actually June, I think, since Buffy has ended. So what are your thoughts on that?
I really hope that they make a revival series of my Buffy. Oh, yes. I need my Buffy fix. I've already copied every DVD, every episode on a VHS tape.
It's going to happen, but you're going to have to wait 20 plus years on that.
Oh, I hope I don't have an untimely death.
Sadly, he did, but yeah.
I hope they make a storyline out of it.
Well, you're gonna have to. Oh no, I was gonna say you're gonna have to wait a couple years for that, but no, they did do the storyline like right after.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was great.
Speaking of untimely deaths, we get the Buffy reboot, and then untimely we lose one of the best members of the Buffyverse, Michelle. It's the same thing happens with we get the announcement of the King of the Hill revival, and then
Fucking
the guy who plays
Kirsten's fucking revival.
Yeah, the guy who plays Dale passes away like right after they announce it, and then everything they get a date announced. They're doing these tours of like talking to fans, and all of a sudden we lose the guy who played Jonathan Joss, who voiced, John Redcorn. He gets shot sadly by a horrible, horrible person who sadly was bailed out today, but obviously his day in court is coming. He's on house arrest. And hopefully they lock him up and throw away the key, unless something turns out where, like, Jonathan Joss, he was like protecting himself, which from what everybody else is saying, it doesn't sound like he was protecting himself. They need to lock him up and throw away the key. Yeah. But overall, out of 10, the first hour, excuse me, the first half of the show was really strong. Cena with the promo to open it, fun match with Rhino, and then Heyman just being so stressed, and he's telling the APA, if you guys lose, you're fired, and they lose, and then Ron Simmons is fired, and Jay and Bradshaw turns on Ron Simmons, and well, then we get Dawn Marie in the locker room with World's Greatest Tag Team, Billy Gunn and Rey Mysterio, and we got a gauntlet, and that's pretty much the rest of the damn show. Second half of this show, things go downhill a little bit, but I still give this a decent overall. I'd say 6.5 out of 10. Your thoughts on the March 18th, 2004 SmackDown overall out of 10?
I'll give it. Oh, this is one of those rare times. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
I felt like, as I was saying 6.5, I felt like you were going to give it a better review, and you did. Wow.
Well, folks, we've entered the era of trope referring like in a SmackDown episode more than Frank does. That's rare.
That's a crazy way to start a road to, especially when it's like an 04 SmackDown, and I'm like the only person who loves 2004 SmackDown. But again, the gauntlet just they gutted the whole show, and it's like, let's do a gauntlet for an hour. Okay,
it's a fine Fallout show, and quick little build to the draft.
Our ratings really aren't all that different. We're literally a half point separate. Yeah. So there haven't been a lot of shows like that where like one show I think we both picked the same rating. But
yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. To be like that close in ratings does not happen a lot, so that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I normally try to go at least one or two things lower to you.
Yeah.
Just my opinion, but this time I'm like, no, you know what? I can't give this a 6 or a 5.5. This was a 7.
Was that what you were thinking as you were, or you were thinking that right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. We got Paul Bearer. We got fucking Dan Undertaker, and the main event was good.
Mm-hmm.
Championship match was at least.
That was the main event, yeah.
Yeah, Shelton's pretty good, so it's nice to see him shine a bit too.
So our next show will be the March 25th, 2004 episode of SmackDown. Again, we are continuing the road to Judgment Day. Are we going to be doing that tomorrow?
Either tomorrow or Friday.
Okay, so tomorrow or Friday, that will be Kurt Angle's first episode as SmackDown GM. And I talked about a lot of the storylines that SmackDown did in 04 to make up once Brock left, and how the show really did pick up even with the lack of star power. Making Kurt Angle the GM, even though it took away his talents and how he could have, had some interesting feuds, he still had some feuds, and so it was a really good storyline. A big part of John Cena quickly making this from this jump to a year from where we are now, he becomes the guy. He was the Austin to Kurt Angle's Mr. McMahon. He was the guy who wasn't going to take shit from Kurt Angle. He's going to walk how he wants to walk. He's going to say what he wants to say. He's going to act how he wants to act. He's going to dress how he wants to dress. And if Kurt Angle has an issue with that, spoiler alert, he can wheel his ass in the other direction. The opposite direction, excuse me. It's a bit of a spoiler, that wheel thing, but yeah. Go ahead.
Now, I've asked ChatGPT who Paul Bearer's favorite character would be. Okay. Do you want to say that for the show, or do you want to say that for offline? It's quite entertaining.
This is a running gag that we've been doing on the show. Yeah. Why not reveal it?
Okay, so ChatGPT, who gave us 2 characters, and then the whole thing. So, Paul Bearer's favorite character could be Angel. Why Angel? He's a vampire with a soul literally tormented by guilt.
Yeah.
Constantly brooding in the shadows, check. Wears a long black coat and says ominous things, perfect.
The other one's
Loves
got to be
loves Buffy, but his love causes her pain. Oh, poetic tragedy.
the other one's got to be Spike, right?
Oh yeah, but then they have like quote of what Paul Bear would be saying.
Mhm.
Oh, Angel, you remind me of the Undertaker. So silent, so tragic, so full of agony.
There you go.
Runner up, Spike. Why Spike? More chaotic, rebellious, but still deeply emotional. Loves poetry, loves pain, lives in a crypt. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, William the Bloody. How delightful your anguish when Buffy won't return your love. Yes, cry for her, cry.
He literally, he literally, he literally has a hit song called "Let Me Rest in Peace." So
And
it's
his least favorite, Buffy herself. Always slaying poor little creatures of the night. Shame on you, Slayer. Let them rest in peace.
he's supposed to love Buffy. That's
I
been the whole
know.
running gag.
Now, if WWE and Buffy ever cross paths, Paul Bearer will 100% manage a tag team called the Vampire Vengeance. Angel and Spike in matching trench coats, emerging from a foggy crypt to the toll of bell.
Yeah, see, I gotta call bullshit on ChatGPT because Angel and Spike are always enemies. They hate each
Well,
other.
this would be WWE.
This can't happen. That's bullshit, ChatGPT. No, no tag team of Angel and Spike. If
Oh, the power of Paul Bearer.
no, yeah.
I just love the thought of his least favorite character being Buffy. Those poor creatures of the night.
It makes sense because she kills the creatures of the night. Undertaker is a creature of the night, and that's Paul
Exactly.
Bearer's boy. So it
You've
makes
tried to
sense.
kill Gangrel. You've tried to kill Gangrel for the 15th time.
But
Stop trying to kill my vampires.
on this show, though, on this show, FCT, Paul Bearer loves Buffy. So
I don't know if they realize. I don't know if you even watched the show. Probably not.
what?
You probably never watched Buffy.
Oh, Paul Bearer himself. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe he felt like he could get some inspiration towards his character by watching Buffy. So maybe he did watch it. Who knows? Sport. It turns out like Undertaker's the biggest Buffy fan of them all.
I love this week on 6 feet with Mark Calloway. I'm here. I've brought myself Buffy. I've kidnapped her.
where
Now tell me your secrets. Why does
where
Paul
to
Bearer love you so much?
where to, Sarah? Sarah just spikes him, stakes him right then and there. He turns around. Where to, Sarah? And Sarah just boom. Undertaker just disappears into dust. Just dissolves into dust.
No.
So yeah, so March 26, 2004, that SmackDown is our next SmackDown. Even though the SmackDown roster will be at the draft, we are saving the draft for whenever we do a Road to Backlash 2004. They technically didn't do anything Judgment Day wise on this show, but still, WrestleMania ends and the next pay per view SmackDown was before, or excuse me, after Mania is Judgment Day. So that's why we start here. Uh, the Raw show is a Raw show. That's we will build that. We will cover that when we build up Backlash 04. So March 26th, 2004. A totally new era for SmackDown in 2004. We will see Kurt Angle announce himself as the GM, and he will immediately. The show starts off perfectly, where Triple H's theme hits, and then Kurt Angle comes out, and everybody's like, "What the hell? That's not Triple H." Kurt Angle then announces he's the new GM. He traded uh, Triple H for a package of first round picks and Booker T, the
Yes.
Dudleys, and RVD. So that's how we kick that show off. And we get the debut again, the debut of the character JBL, which I cannot wait to cover, and I cannot wait to
Yeah.
cover the feud, excuse me, between JBL and Eddie Guerrero. At least the first part of it. We have covered Great American Bash Show 4 on this show, on this channel. Me and Christian have. You have not. So that's just a good reason to say that one day we will do the road to Great American Bash Show 4. We will get your
Yep.
perspective. I'll be on here with you because I have, Christian.
No, I have to do it solo like you
No,
and Christian.
no. It will be you and me because Christian rushed me when we did Great American Bash, so I did not like the way the show went because I didn't get to say everything I want to say. So we will get to Great American Bash Show 4 someday. So we will definitely talk about that whole feud whenever it's all said and done. And I cannot wait to talk about it. We talk about the first part of it right now with this road to where
Yep.
it starts next week, which again we will either do tomorrow or Friday. And the Kurt Angle Great American Invitational, which will be 2 weeks from now, where the winner gets to call himself a Great American and he gets to take on Eddie Guerrero at Judgment Day. Gee, I wonder who that is.
Well, obviously it's going to be Rey Mysterio.
Well, the funny thing about that is they made like the way they tease it like it was going to be John Cena. And then he says John Bradshaw Layfield. And then in the end, John Cena gets his payback essentially by beating Bradshaw.
Yep.
Show off for the undisputed title at WrestleMania. They may have had that plan. That they obviously they needed a new star and they knew it was going to be John Cena. So that little nugget right there may have been just them planting the seed that the belt's about to go on JBL soon, not
Mhm.
at Judgment Day, but at Great American Bash. And well, here's the guy that's going to take him off him. You screwed him over, Kurt Angle, but you won't be able to screw him over at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Especially since he'll have his own stuff to deal with by then with Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
So thank you to everybody who has watched. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Hit that 10 bell salute 10 times, but please make sure that once you're done with all 10 that the notifications are still on. 10 bell salute that notification bell and make sure that notifications are still on once you're done with that. And again, PWHL Vancouver, we had an agreement. I make you guys the sponsor. You stay away from Sarah Nurse and Natalie Spooner. So make sure that when you guys get up to taking our players, you can take anybody who is not named Natalie Spooner and Sarah Nurse. So thank you to everybody who's watched. Charlie, you have any final words?
Go Pacers, go. Go Sirens, go.
Well, we're not playing the Sirens right now. Although I hate the Sirens because they took Olivia Knowles from us, and she was one of the cutest players on the whole team. It's literally the biggest reason why I don't want Toronto to lose Nurse and Spooner because they're cute. I'm just gonna say it right now.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm pretty sure they play in Bridgeport. So
Yeah, they do. They do.
yeah, the New York. Imagine a New York team playing in a different state. Pathetic.
Literally, the reason why I became a Toronto fan, the Toronto Scepters, was because they signed Sarah Nurse. Like she's cute as hell, so I'm gonna root for this team. So Now Sarah Nurse, and then I started realizing like this whole team, like damn, Sarah Nurse, Olivia Knowles, Natalie Spooner, even Blair Turnbull, like the whole team is good. Now we can. We've already lost one of them, and now we might lose two of them. Harvey, what's up, Harvey?
There she goes. It's a cameo. Put that in the thumbnail.
But again, me and PWHL Vancouver, we have that agreement, so they will not be touching Sarah Nurse or Natalie Spooner. So
Harvey, what
any
are your
other?
thoughts on the SmackDown? Huh? Oh, she's speechless.
She doesn't care. She's
What
so
are your
spe-
final thoughts on the SmackDown show? She don't. She doesn't care. She's getting her sent on everything.
One of these days we will have Harvey on here. You will ask Harvey a question. We will get an immediate meow, and it will be the funniest thing to ever happen on here.
There you go.
Hey, she gave his thoughts on it a little too late.
Well, what are your thoughts on SmackDown? Oh,
She
I
is
don't
like
want to talk.
he is like I am going to meow whenever I want, not when you tell me to. Human.
You dare tell me to meow? I'll meow when I fucking feel like it. You think I'm just an entertainment thing? No, I'm a fucking cat. I'm gonna rub my head on this pillar over and over again, get my scent on it again.
He doesn't care that he doesn't care about the show that we just reviewed or the show that we're doing right now, which is
No,
talking about
she's
the show that we
no,
just
she's too
reviewed.
busy not being a very good hunter.
No,
she is not an apex predator, believe me.
she is telling you those meows that she just let out a few minutes ago was telling you, I am hungry, human. Feed me, human.
My bowl is full, even though it looks like it's empty. You say my bowl is full. You say my bowl is full. I say it is empty, even
no,
though I've eaten most of it.
no cats were harmed in the making of this road to.
No.
So yeah, that I guess that's it for this
Yeah.
show. We will see you either tomorrow or Friday when we cover the March 26th, 2004 SmackDown and PWHL Vancouver. We have an agreement, so remember that. Thank you to